You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of JaysJournal.com and Fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-host Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Jaybird Watching. I am your host, Craig Borden. My co-host with me, as always, Liz McGuire. How the heck are you?
I'm good, bud. I'm really good. I went outside today. It was nice. I saw a bird.
Beautiful
it was
out
great.
today, all of a sudden.
Great.
Beautiful. Like perfect day for baseball we had in town, right? So you want to know it's the third square with us this evening. We got the Blue Jays dad, famous from Twitter. How we doing, buddy? Long time. First time, long time.
Yeah, no, I am happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Always fun to talk about the Jays with good people.
Did
There it is. Game on. So let's just dive into it. How are you feeling about that right now?
Yeah, it's I'll tell you what, I made a commitment to myself that this season I would enjoy the game for the game's sake. And that is, and a part of enjoying the game is experiencing the lows and the frustrations. And I mean, that's why we tune in night after night, no matter what happens, right? And but it's unfortunate to see the same trends continuing over the past couple of years. It doesn't seem to matter the different mix of people. It always seems to be the same issue. And our family is definitely hit by, Bo Bichette's recent power outage. Is it 233 at bats so far, something like that he hasn't hit a home run in? So anyway, but it's the game. We love the game, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it.
That's interesting you brought that up because I was actually thinking about that when I'm trying to get the actual stat in front of me. So far, he's got 104 at bats this season, no home runs. And if you, to your point, take that back to before last season and before his injury and during him playing injured, all the above, yeah, it's probably about 200 some odd at bats because it's pretty much a 2-month power outage to your point. But at least he's hitting the ball.
He's hitting the ball. Like I was going to ask, what was his? Do we have a similar? What his batting average was or his on-base percentage was during the same span of time this year and last year?
I can probably get that for you, Liz.
Get that, and I'm going to spew words out of my face. So I think that, I know that this is the thing. I'm concerned about the power outage, as we all are. But Bo was getting on base. Looked like he was being a really good leadoff guy. And I like that. He was doing his job of getting on base. And, everything that happened after that, for a couple of games there, it was golden. Let's not lie. For a couple of games, we were like, they were stringing together hits. They were getting people on base. They were scoring runs in new and different ways. And since then, it's gone. The bats have gone quite dry.
Yeah, so I have it for you because I'm good with this stuff.
Let's go.
If you want to talk about Bo Bichette in a nutshell, his career batting average in March/April is 260.
Okay.
So he is a notoriously slow starter, according to this. And to that point, you want to know his May batting average jumps and spikes up to all of a sudden?
I do. I want that.
300.
Yeah.
And he's actually, surprisingly, after all these, it's 126 games he's played in March/April, which is because it can be a 2-month, for his career. He has 16 home runs early in the season in his career. So that's his whole career in the month of April, March.
Right.
And I'm surprised by that because you look at his May numbers, the batting average went up, but that home run number is exactly the same.
Right.
Ooh, spooky.
Ooh. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, guys. We were I'm going to reminisce. I'm going to take us on an emotional journey. Remember that time when we were number one in the AL East for 2 weeks? Remember that?
I know it.
And aren't we glad that I celebrated the shit out of it? And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I did. And now we're third in the AL East, behind Boston. Hurts. And the thing is, it's so obvious.
Watching the Baltimore Orioles get destroyed to the tune of 24-2 or whatever the other night didn't quite make me feel as bad.
They will be the trash birds. They will be returned to the trash bird status that once we were trash birds, but they will now be trash birds.
Instead of moving.
The trash birds.
Good deal. Blue Jays, Dad, what you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that I think the Jays came out of the off season one bat too few. No, how to say that? We did not. Yeah, we did not add an additional bat that was needed. I know Santander was added, which is great, and I don't think we should be concerned about him. I think his stats are he's a traditionally slow starter, so let's not worry about that. But another bat was needed, and I think that's where it's feeling the effects right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and that's the offense in a nutshell right now. It hasn't exactly. We're still in the April showers ballpark, I guess. Not quite the Mayflowers part of our offense. I guess the bigger question is with what we've seen over the last 2 days, up until this series against the Houston Astros, they were getting on base. The opportunities were there. We were actually within the top 5 in the American League in hits, period. So that was very intriguing, because if that stat points you in some direction that says, hey, something might be happening. It's just not timely happening, right? This team only has 13 home runs on the season. That is number 29 out of 30 teams in that ranking of that. The RBIs are on the low. When you look at our quote-unquote run differential, that we are negative, I think it was 20 or 15 or something like that after last night's game. Our expected win rate is like literally Baltimore Orioles right now. So,
right.
I think that speaks to some other things I want to get to eventually with the pitching, but this offense, I feel like, is like, just to your point, Blue Jays, Dad, one catalyst away from this, and we didn't get that catalyst in the offseason. Even though Nathan Lucas hit a home run last night, I'm not expecting him to be the catalyst.
Right.
As much as I love that story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like the first couple of weeks of the season where it seemed like the Jays had a lot of different things they could do. Like I love sack bunts, and I cannot lie. Like, especially, I think that's got to be a way that you enter into extra innings. I really do think you got to start bunting that runner from second to third to start the inning, because it just seems that the Jays go through so many extra innings with the ghost runner on second that nothing happens. Strikeout, pop up, and they're giving you a player at second base to start the inning. I know it's limiting the inning, but I don't know. Does it build momentum to actually score a run? And then maybe you do get some 2-out runs. I would just so I was getting excited about the team with like different lefties and guys that could hook it down the line and slap it the other way, and that seems to maybe scouting reports are picking up, and now the league is learning how to adjust to these guys, and then also maybe we're just not as strategic with. I hate using the word small ball. Yeah. I just think it's the right thing at the right time. Knowing like what's the alternative is if we're not hitting homers, the alternative is double plays and pop-ups and strikeouts, and that's just not going to get it done.
There's many Blue Jays over the years that have made a great living like that. That's why, in my opinion, Joe Carter should be in the Hall of Fame, because he was notoriously good at bringing runners around the pillows. He didn't have to hit the home run. We are short those guys, and so far, funny enough, this season George Springer's been one of those guys that's figured out how to get some of those guys around, and he's been a key contributor on that fact. If we didn't have George Springer doing what he's been doing this season, we would have 11 less RBIs right now. He's the third person in that ranking right now on the team.
Now, did you see the interview with him on the Apple TV broadcast with the AirPod Maxes or whatever those are? Our family laughs at those when they're wearing those.
They always get those Apple products out there. They're going to show you. She was wearing an Apple Watch full of Apple gear.
So
Hollywood
funny.
Hazelnut.
They had the VR goggles on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you caught that though, did you, Liz? When they asked him what adjustment did you make, he got a grin on his face and would not answer.
Would not say. This is a George Springer interview. Okay, they'll be like, "Hey George, what was your approach with the full count? And you think, what was your approach thinking that he was going to throw a slider?" And George would be like, "I just showed up. And he just smiles. He will never give you any information about what he's thinking or what he's done ever.
Well, you can tell he knows what he's doing.
Yes, he does. He never says that.
He knows what he's doing. He had a little glimmer in his eye. I remember one time, remember how Adam Lind used to like rake against the Rangers in Texas? And I remember an interview with him. He was on one of his streaks, hitting homers every game. And they're interviewing him and they said, "What are you doing differently this weekend?" And he's like, "I don't know.
Tough.
And he just kept, and I believed him. I think he really didn't know. But George,
I always felt like
Springer,
Aaron Hill was the guy, like, because the two of them together were that same ballpark. It was like they just walk up to the plate and it's like, hey, guess what? Stuff happened this week.
Right.
Last week, not so much. But that's the beauty of baseball. And like we talked about, we've had 2 rough days in a row. But guess what? We sucked yesterday. There's a chance to win today.
Yeah.
That's how it always is.
Right.
And that's the beauty of baseball.
That's it. Like, we'll get him tomorrow is a statement I say way too much. But guys, I've been rally capping far too often this season. And it is feeling like the 2023 Blue Jays, 2024 Blue Jays, but not the 2021 Blue Jays. And I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't know if am I blaming the fact that they have created this roster that was so defense heavy? Is that still where we still point the finger? Because they did try and get some bats. Eventually they did. I do think they're 1 bat light, but like, whose fault is this? Is it just baseball? Is it ownership? What's up? Front office? What's up?
Well, I mean, I think it's what Buck Martinez said last year: sign Vladdy first, and the rest takes care of itself.
Yep.
And I think with the late signing on Vladdy, that delayed other people jumping on board, because the minor league system, as much as we like to treasure our own prospects, it's not necessarily looking good outside of maybe the Jays organization's heads. Not extending your 2 possible franchise players in Bo Bichette and Vladdy entering into their walk years. I don't know that, and also the aging starting rotation. I love our starting rotation. I think we've been amazingly fortunate that everyone has remained healthy for the most part, especially considering their ages. But someone coming into the franchise doesn't see, is this team committed to winning in the future? And so I just keep on going back to what Buck said. And I just love Buck. And I think that real simple line that he repeated so many times last September did not come to fruition. And so we didn't get those players, and then those guys aren't available once the season starts.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, we didn't know who we were building around or what we were building towards, right? Until they signed Vladdy, which was unfortunately, I think, too late to really impact these signings of the season. Like, maybe we could have got Pete Alonso,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we were ever going to get Soto, but maybe we could have got another.
That one was working out okay right now.
It's fine. Did they sweep Philly? Did the Mets sweep the Phillies? Do we know yet?
The Mets did, but Juan Soto didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. I'm just shocked at the Mets. Anyway.
Speaking of people that are raking right now, Pete Alonso is looking like not only the monster offensive force that he is, he learned how to play first base at Gold Glove level all of a sudden. I don't know if you've all been watching what he's been doing, but good on him.
And he's got the wheels going, legging out triples.
I forget that. I forget. Is it Vientos? No, he's third base. I'm forgetting who the center fielder is the other night. But there's a crazy play where the center fielder ran in and made an amazing catch that he had no right in the world getting to and running to get to it. And he was aware enough to see that the guy got way too far off first base. He never thought in a million years he would have caught it. He guns the ball to Pete Alonso, but Pete had to make a hell of a stretch and a scoop to actually get that. And 2 years ago, Alonso, I don't think gets that. I think the polar bear falls over and doesn't quite make it. So, but outside of that, I don't want to be a dead horse because everybody does know the fun that is going on with our offense. But is there anybody that has been a glimmer of hope outside the last 2 days for the two of you that's like, okay, maybe they're figuring something out? Santander being benched yesterday felt a little weird to me, but okay, great.
I want to see that a little bit.
Yeah, I need him in the lineup tonight. I really do. So, but we got some, our buddy of the show here, Mr. Borland. He missed a few games, but oh god, it's just hurting. It's painful to watch. I think I said to Liz before the show that we're 4 for 58 so far this series.
It's shocking.
That's hurtful.
It is so bad. Yes, that's my update. It's like the odds don't even the odds like that somebody would strike out that much. Are we cursed?
At least against Blanco, we're not Blanco. We're freaking screwed. He's had 2 major league starts against us, and he's only given up 2 hits, and they were both last night. Just saying.
I mean, that's good. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't watched the last 2 games. I'm gonna straight up say it, guys. Like because I would tune in the first inning, and be like, oh, this isn't good. This is not good. And then I just sort of half watched it. I was like, I can't. And I know this is the thing. I know it's a long season. I'll be there for my Jays. I'm gonna do it. But it's frustrating. Like I literally I'll sit there and have the sound off and just stare at it. But I think I'm gonna go back. Like I'll look back with Springer. I'm just gonna keep saying Springer has been just delightful to watch. That he's been just doing something for the Jays during this time. Because again, I thought he was so washed. We all thought he was so washed. So I'll reiterate that again. And I mean, our pitching's been pretty for the most part, except for what was it, the unraveling of Easton Lucas? Except for the unraveling of Easton.
Yeah, the downfall of Easton Lucas will be a topic here in the very short future because we're going to pitching next. So I take that as we're giving Liz segue points here to move on to the pitching.
No, because I will get Baseball Dad to answer said question of his bright light of the moment.
Yeah. What do I love Jimenez. I think how do you say his name? Is it
Jimenez?
Jimenez. Yeah, Jimenez. I love him. Obviously, on playing second base. I think he brings a real throwback approach to playing second base that becomes really valuable in the age of replay reviews as well. Holding on tags, looking at how to make that extra out. He's a classic middle infielder. And I love him so much.
To your point, I love that we actually might have a guy that can steal 10 bases this year. Just saying.
There you go.
He's got 7 already.
Yeah, that's another plus. And obviously his bat isn't what it was maybe a few years ago when he signed the big contract with Cleveland, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think he has a swing that can come around. I think he's an exciting hitter. I think he's a game changer. Should he be the cleanup batter? I don't know. I don't know. I was going to ask you guys, I don't know if this is a topic for today or not, but lineup construction, is that a concern for this ball club? Even with Santander not playing last night, could that be a situation where they just dropped him down the order a few spots instead? Hey, you don't need to be up in the first inning. Let's give you a few more looks at the pitcher. I know Bo loves the lead off, apparently. I think I've heard him say that, but and he's obviously willing to play anywhere. Even for him, is it better for him to see a few pitches? I know I'm speaking like a throwback myself, but I just like that leadoff pitcher to kind of and do some time up there to give everybody else a chance to see what's going on and to catch their breath and to start the game on the right foot.
It's interesting you bring that up because I didn't have that on the topic list here for tonight, but that to me, that is one of those things that you would do to shake somebody out of a slump like this. To your point, if he's not having that wonderful, comfortable in the 3 spot, honestly, I was wondering if Jimenez would have the opposite here of moving him to the leadoff spot and letting him get somebody like Bo to actually bat behind him that they know is going to hit. Yeah. And you got a speed threat in the top of the lineup, and then you have Jimenez maybe seeing a couple extra fastballs during that lineup, and maybe being able to get on base that much better. And that was one of those things I think that honestly, to your point of being an old school baseball player, those kind of things, it falls into place, I think, with a normal 1, 2, 3, 4. You have Jimenez, Bo, Vladdy, and then Santander to back him up. And I think that lineup looks a little bit more stretched out in that fashion. Instead of having more or less, I'll say pockets of things going on. It's like you had 3 little spots. It's like, okay, you had Bo, Vlad, Santander, then you had another leadoff hitter in Jimenez in the 4th spot, and it just kind of kept revolving every 3 hitters, and then you weren't really setting the table, and that was what was killing me. Right. It was. I wonder if that's the shakeup they need, actually, to your credit.
And Jimenez is a smart baseball player. You see it on defense, but I suspect it goes to offense as well. And so I think he would be a smart batter to start the game off with. What about even moving George Springer back up to the top of the lineup. If he's one of your best hitters this year, maybe he knows that he doesn't need to be a leadoff hitter. He just needs to be a hitter that he's being. And go ahead, Craig.
Me on that is it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
They leave him right alone.
No, but Craig, they're all broken. There. If you look at it as a system, take a systems right now, approach. Yes. They're all broken.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But to that point, he's one of our highest RBI guys on the season so far. That's why I was like, okay, do you just leave him in the 5-6 spot and let him keep doing his due? And maybe he's seeing the right pitches in that spot. But there is something I was honestly toying with the idea. Do you put, the combination of Alan Roden / Miles Straw or whatever, and let them do like what, who was it? What used to pair with Frank Calinado and Reed Johnson back in the day. That was a wonderful righty lefty tandem for a little bit while they were getting their feet wet before they became everyday players, or at least before Reed Johnson became an everyday player. I wonder if there's some weird mix of the sauce like that helps this lineup too, that getting the right tandem. Because there is something for those guys that have been hitting well enough if they get the right pitches. Because right now, batting in the 9th spot, guess what they're getting? The right pitches.
Yep. Yeah, I have been a bit puzzled by some of the pinch hitting that's been going on as well. Yeah. When you have a guy like Miles Straw who, okay, well, maybe he's susceptible to a fastball or blah, blah, blah. But if he's hitting right now, he's hitting. So why wouldn't you just
on hand?
They put Addison in there the other night, 0-0-0 on the season with a game.
That was weird.
A pivotal moment, and I'm like,
that was weird.
That is purely playing with your left, right, and your whatever stats on people. Just use your eyes. Miles Straw is hitting. Let's ride that.
That's a thing with this. I don't know if it's John Schneider, but they love to do that, right? They're like, rather than, which we know from that time in the playoff game with our friends, like Barrios, but like they don't vibe it out. They're just like, nah, paper says this, we're gonna do this, And you're just like, you look at it, and you're like that Barger move. I just thought it was so strange.
Can we just talk about the Barrios thing?
That situation was let him run into one and hope Barger crushes it, which he has done in the minor leagues this season. So I just didn't see it. But go ahead, go where you want to go, bud. That's I just got with Barrios.
So I was at the game where they took out Barrios. Okay, now a lot of people, whenever I bring this up on Twitter, it's always they didn't score any runs. They didn't score any runs, like for the Jays. So it doesn't matter when you took them out. That is totally wrong. And I have no more time to correct people out there that's not the issue. The issue was the Jays were dominating that game. The Twins fans, the stadium, the players, it was advantage Blue Jays. Twins, the fans were feeling like, oh no, Barrios is coming back to haunt us. He is lights out. We know when he's like this, we're done. And then when Schneider came with the hook, okay, do you know what happened? Pulled the plug.
Here we go.
Opposite. It was like a suplex, reversal, atomic drop. It was just total. And the stadium, the atmosphere in the stadium changed from doom and gloom to we're going to lose a postseason game to, we got this now. And you're going to tell me that the hitting is unaffected by the Jays players watching that hook. You tell, like, whatever Bo Bichette said to Barrios just before Schneider got out there, I don't know what it was, but it was definitely
pointed.
Yeah, and they're trying to hold it together themselves. Like, I'm guessing Bichette said something to Barrios like, hey, dude, like, don't take this personally. This is what it was, probably something like that. But now Bo has to take the role of like managing the players' relationships with the management versus focusing on your hitting. Now they're out there trying to do too much. Now they're trying to get that extra base when you can't get it. They're leading off second base when they shouldn't be and getting picked off. So I get excited about this because I was there and saw and felt what happened there. And it was the worst move in Blue Jays history.
It might be up there in Major League history. It's just saying. But we talk on this show a lot about team chemistry. To your point, you pull out Barrios in that situation, the chemistry just went to shit because you just threw a grenade into your cocktail. Because I can't playing baseball if we did that in a situation where we were cruising, it's a tie game. I don't care if there was 2 damn base runners on at the time when they did the pull. There was at least somebody on second. There's one. Okay.
And it was
one base run.
Kikuchi in the bullpen that had not had a relief appearance the whole season.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing him in to face was it Royce Lewis? Did he do the damage?
Yes, of course it was Royce Lewis.
And
he just came back from injuries.
He's only back from injuries to face the Jays.
That was it.
Playing the Jays, he's injured.
Yeah. Him and Carlos Correa were playing hurt in that series. Both of them. Yeah. And yet, because I saw Royce Lewis here in Rochester 2 weeks before that, and he didn't look healthy.
Oh, he did?
He Kirk Gibson that is really what it was.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, back to all this stuff.
Anyway.
Lineup construction, pinch hitting. You said we're going to get to pitching, even bullpen usage. Still those puzzling moments where you're like, why did we do that? And it just feels like, once again, there's something being followed. I don't even blame John Schneider. Like when people say, oh, they should fire Schneider, I'm like, I don't blame him because I think he's part of part of a system that's locked in there. So
if you were given a piece of paper that said this guy's a lock when this happens, what would you do? It's the same as somebody sliding you a bet sheet that says this is a sure thing, right? You're gonna win if you bet on the Blue Jays tonight, all right? That's not gonna happen. He's given that kind of information.
Or like in John Gibbons' book. I haven't read it. I just saw some quotes out of it where he said he didn't want to continue because it wasn't going to be him calling the shots.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be that type of manager. So this is what the reality is. And that's why, like, I've just chosen this year. It's like, I'm just going to enjoy the game because I could just lose my mind over trying to figure out who's making the actual decisions when I just know it's not Schneider from his head and his heart. It just isn't.
Yeah. Exactly. But to that point, we have gotten lucky in a few of those situations so far. But let's just dive into the pitching thing, unless there's something the two of you would
like. I do.
Specifically. Go for it.
Okay, so has Schneider been great this year? Are we stoked with how our manager Schneider's been?
Dusty's here on this.
Yeah, what are we saying about that?
I'm happier this year than I've been in a while, but I still don't think I'm comfy with it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. He makes some weird decisions sometimes, but I can't tell if I'm just watching him the most, right? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to recall what were some pitching decisions that I saw this year, like bullpen usage that were puzzling.
Oh, there was a game where we didn't put Hoffman in, and we ended up losing the game. It was like a save situation, and he didn't put Hoffman in. It drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. And
any move that involves being brought in the first 3 games of this season, Dusty, I'll give you that one. He said name had 2 bad moves. Those first few games. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not that mad yet. So like I'll take that. Yeah.
I'm not either, but I got nothing horrible against it. But I will say that so far, this is his best April he's had.
Yeah,
if I recall correctly.
I do have a personal vendetta here. He's changed his watch fashion, and he's got a very ostentatious watch that he matches the band with his uniform, and I'm just not feeling that. So
what?
Yeah.
It's like us picking new hats out for a game, making sure we're all coordinated.
It's like the band is red or blue, and there's this giant bauble of a watch on his hand. So that's my beef with Schneider this season. His fashion.
Love it.
Is it fashionably late then? If the watch isn't working?
I'm not even biting on that joke. It's such trash. Such trash. Be better.
I'm sorry. The horrible burden of being a host. So I do have one thing I want to talk and slip in here before we get to the pitching. This is a great comment. Nobody's running away with this shit.
No.
So there is a hell of a chance. We were talking about how the Baltimore Orioles have not figured any realm of reality out for anything outside their offense. Their pitching is horrendous. And I guess that's what happens when you have a full justified actual pitching rotation on your injured list. Just saying. The Rays technically don't have a home, even though Steinbrenner Field's had a nice facelift. They're figuring some stuff out, but they're still not running away with this division. The Yankees have glaring holes in their pitching and everything too. So do the Red Sox. So they can't. The Red Sox can't get Garrett Crochet out there every outing, for example. So regardless of all this stuff, we are a 500 level team at this moment. So I'm wondering what is going to actually happen this year with the American League East, in addition to the wild card spots. I don't know how you two are feeling right now, but this is a heck of a race that I don't know if anybody really wants to win at the moment.
No,
it seems like we're all fighting.
I don't know. I think it's going to be tight, but this is the thing. I am more optimistic than the past that we will eventually start hitting the ball. And when we do hit the ball, we will get more wins. And when we get more wins, this is big analysis right here. We will rise up in the AL East. But here's the thing. Eventually the Yankees, somebody's going to run away. It's like, if we don't get there fast, somebody else is going to get there. And, I think of 2 years ago when we had really good pitching and like the Yankees were bad and Boston was really bad and we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. And also we've had this curse, maybe I'm just revisiting curses, that we've never had our pitching and hitting kind of take off at the same time. We've also never really had Bo and Vladdy take off at the same time. The team has like an alternate firing where
and everybody's cold now. So
everybody's cold. So, but if this team does start popping off just even two of the three things that I want, we could see some major traction. Like, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. If our bats start popping off, we could win the division with this team. But the bats have to start doing something, right?
Yep. Just to give you the fun from all our friends in the Instagram and everybody listening, 115 of you at the moment right now. Apparently, John Schneider is wearing an Aqua Swatch.
An Aqua Swatch? Is it? How much is that worth? Also,
I don't know.
That's great.
Creole Crocodile, if you want to fill me in how much that watch costs, please.
Yeah. I'm also going to put in Michael Boron's comment here about
we got our two notes here.
Keeping Lovelady in was pretty bad, but he had a cool name, so I respect that a little bit. And then the Springer through his hand issue.
That was the bad one.
That was bad. But I will also say that
horrible.
I don't hate Schneider yet this year, so he's still in my good books.
But we had to name two things, so there's two things.
There we go.
Because that one with Springer was a big one that we all should have remembered.
Yes.
So, but anyway, let's talk starting pitching first, and then we'll talk the bullpen. Both have been really good of late. I'd say there's certain ups and downs in our bullpen, but talk starting pitching outside of Easton Lucas's last two performances. This is a rotation that actually has been repping the tops in Major League Baseball so far. We knew we were going to be good, but we didn't expect to be still this good when we have a Max Scherzer that just got his second cortisone shot and is finally throwing off a flat ground again as of yesterday, which is great news. But Blue Jays, what you thinking as far as this rotation? Because this honestly feels a lot like the 2016 rotation to me a little bit at the moment, with how that team really didn't have the true ace, but we had great contributors all the way around.
Well, the Jays have had a fantastic starting rotation for a number of years now, and the credit obviously goes to the organization for investing in people like Gosman and Bassett and extending Barrios. They've spent the money there, and everyone's had their shaky moments, but we've been incredibly fortunate that they're all healthy, especially with some of their ages. So that's great. Chris Bassett obviously off to a great start, even last night where his ERA got bumped over a run. If you watched in the first inning, it was just bloops, and it was a ridiculous first inning to where, even the ball hit off second base. And those were, I think, all earned runs. I forget how many happened in the first two or three. Yeah. So his ERA should still be under 1, even after last night's performance, because there was no real true hits.
Start of doing anything like he did his first few outings, we'll get that back under 1. He's at 188 currently, I believe. And it's because there's just not enough innings to offset 3 runs, but his whip is sub 1 still after last night. So that's
it's
telling with how good Bass has been.
And that's where I remember some of the graphics Sportsnet was showing in the first part of the season, just how well the starting rotation was doing. Our family was watching those games. We were like, this is amazing. But unfortunately, like what Liz was saying, we never have the match of, well, now here come the batters, here come the hits.
Yeah.
And we're in the similar situation this year where it just feels like the Jays don't have the ability to squeak those runs around. They just can't do it. So yeah, Jay's pitching staff is great. It's been like that for a while, and that's why every offseason I've really emphasized in my tweets the necessity to invest in the team offensively. Because I mean, you don't get starting staffs like this very often, and we're just going to put them to waste or over usage because everything is always close.
Yes. And this, Liz, you've said this multiple times. Kevin Goskin put up a 0, and that'll be the day that the Blue Jays put up nothing but zeros. Pretty much, every fifth day.
So, I remember it happened to Bassett so many
times. The most frustrated man already.
Yeah, I remember like Bassett last year. He just never got run support. Breaks your heart.
Yeah. And I think that I'm going to use the last 2 games actually as a good example too, because there is something kind of like what we were talking about with the dugout vibe, the Barrios thing, like you even mentioned, Blue Jays dad, and all these wonderful things. It puts extra pressure on somebody like Gausman, on somebody like Bassett to, if he didn't feel like he had to maybe go out and be perfect to start yesterday's game, Bassett, and gives up, like you said, that little, bloop single, the hit off the second base, all these horrible things that happened. Altuve hitting the littlest dink I've ever seen on a baseball field and still getting the RBI out of it. They have to be perfect right now, and they feel that because the offense is struggling. You saw him be perfect the remainder of those innings, but that first inning, he got off to a rough start. It was the same thing the night before with Goss. Was immaculate for 5 innings, and then the 6th inning comes around. He gave up 4 runs, I think. And that's just the Houston Astros versus Gausman to begin with, in my opinion. They always find that one inning to just destroy him, and then he cruises the rest of it. But you have that extra onus on the pitchers. It's going to eventually, break down, and they're going to have that bad inning, and then it's going to be a game that you maybe had a chance of winning, or if you got a little runner's support. Might have been the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then also with how that affects the bullpen. And so now you're like with the extra inning games that have already happened. And honestly, I've been like really pleasantly surprised with the pen, with the arms that have been down there. And
it's been nice.
I don't know if you guys were questioning.
Especially the rough start.
Yeah. But and also, that one game in Boston where we weren't getting any of the real strike calls and all that. They worked their way through that, and so that's been good too. But once again, overuse because of close games could be the downfall.
And that's just as critical to a team too, because in all reality, the gang that we have in our bullpen has actually been pretty encouraging. I've actually very much enjoyed what we've seen out of Mason Fluharty, for example. I was not expecting what we've been getting out from him. Watching Paxton Schultz come up the other day and have a just 4.1 inning game, and he actually tied the major league record for strikeouts for a reliever in their debut the other night with 8. So, yeah, he had to pitch 4.1 innings to get 8 strikeouts, but he looked damn good doing it.
Yes.
So there's all these wonderful pieces that seem to be playing well in our bullpen, and it's going to come down to that stupid number game that we were talking about with the front office and Schneider of deploying that the way it needs to get deployed for it to be successful. But this is a bullpen that also just lost the very up and down, reminded me way too much of Jason Frazier with Nick Sandlin. I love
he's gone, back
in the day, but
gone?
My God, he's hurt. Yeah, he's on the IL now, so that's something we're going to be missing in our bullpen for a bit. I honestly think that's just going to give Paxton Schultz some better performance and it's going to move everybody up a little bit. Yariel Rodriguez has been so up and down.
Yeah.
Same thing. Chad Green, Jimmy Garcia, Jeff Hoffman, lights out. That's been
great. Jeff Hoffman's been great
for those 3.
Did we send someone down?
I'm waiting to see who we called up yet. And I haven't found it yet.
Who did we send down? We sent somebody down in the bullpen recently.
I'm blanking.
I didn't
find it here on.
they released Barnes.
A DFA.
Yeah, they released Barnes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. They after that performance the other night, I'm not terribly shocked, but
Go,
It's
we
always-
didn't score any runs, man.
I agree. It wasn't all his fault. So
Like,
good stuff. I felt like there was somebody else. I was looking to see who they called up in place of Sandlin when they made that transaction today, and I'm having trouble finding it. So, all right, I got nothing.
way to go.
It goes right diving into Luke's home run last night. Which how much fun was that? I wasn't expecting that. Nathan Lucas hitting his second home run in the bottom of the lineup last night. So he's always one of those scrappy guys that I'm waiting for them to have that run in with that, and it was a giant moonshot that just happened to scrape the back of the wall.
So
He's
do you
frustrating to
feel
watch.
was he on the verge of being DFA'd when remember that game that he what did he do? And then he redeemed himself with the diving
Yep.
catch.
Yeah.
Oh
Was it a
yeah,
bit-
he got picked. Did
He
he get picked
saved
off?
that game.
No,
Did
he
he
was.
get picked off?
Yeah, he had a base running error. There's something weird. He did
Yeah.
something weird.
Yeah, he was a pinch runner and then got picked off, I
Yeah.
think. But the next, I'm
You got-
thinking,
you're
oh
right.
no, is
Yeah.
this the end of his tenure? And then the
Yeah.
next inning, I thought they were going to collide in the outfield, but he
Yeah.
made that diving catch to save the game from being a walk off for the
Yeah.
opposing team. And I'm like, did he just save his Jays career?
Yeah.
Because
He might
that
have.
was when Schneider had not been sent down yet. There was like, you're wondering what was the next move going to be.
Yeah.
And did he save his tenure?
I remember thinking that when it happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then of course I had to tweet the Dumb and Dumber GIF of and then you
course.
go and totally redeem yourself. You know?
Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber. So speaking of dumber, I got the price of the watch. Are you curious?
Yeah.
Creole Crocodile coming up large here in the chat section. 35K. Or sorry, 3,500, not 35.
Okay, all right, whatever. Well, I guess that's not too
Too
bad.
many zeros. So still a watch I can't afford. Just saying,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sitting here with I got it for free with my cell phone.
I rock a Casio because it's lovely.
You're
Because they're
reminding
awesome.
me to put on my
I wanna-
Apple Watch. It was a dead battery. Now
Yeah.
I can just charge it up here.
I'm thinking here I might, if I was that cool and was sitting there just because he is, you know, rocking all the analytics and everything because the front office tells him to do so.
Mhm.
I think I'd take a page from Liz here and get a Casio calculator watch. Just saying.
Beep, boop, boop,
Beep, bop, boop, boop. So, nearing the end of the show here, Jason is not with us tonight because he had a function.
He's
he had to
not dead.
attend
You
with
made
the
it
family
sound
and the
like
friends.
Jason was dead. Jason's not dead.
Jason's not dead.
Not dead.
Yes.
They'll be scared because
So,
next time
thank
they'll
you,
see
Liz.
us. They'll think we're weak
Yes.
burning Jason, but he's not dead.
Jason would totally commit to that bit
He
too,
would,
by the way,
he would.
just saying.
Yeah.
We wanted to start doing this section that's up, 3 down. So we're gonna go around the three of us here and just say what's one thing you think is up for the Blue Jays and one thing that
Great.
it's down. So whether it's gonna be a person, a thing, something guilty by proxy around in Blue Jay fandom,
Yeah.
whatever we want. Join in on the comment section too, please, everybody, because it is fun to see what everybody likes. And so, ladies first, Liz. Is there anything you would like to one up and one down for your part of the 3 up, 3 down here?
Yeah, I will. This is the thing. So I'm going to my thing that is up this week is I'm doing this wrong, but I'm going to do it my way. What is up this week is probably the bullpen ERA. That's probably up this week. What is down this week is the hits. Hits are down this week. So that's
I see what you did there.
what I'm doing. I'm doing it that way because mostly I haven't watched a lot of baseball this week, and I'm fussy.
Yeah.
About those
So, all right. I like it. Excited to be a part of it.
Mhm.
Well played. So, Blue Jays, Dad, what you thinking?
Ooh, that's a great question. What's up? I would just probably just go with the starting rotation again. I think that's great. And a closer who's a real lights out closer. I mean,
He's so good.
isn't it fun? It
And
just
it's
feels
fun.
really
It's
fun.
fun to have that
It's
back.
fun that he's got some bravado about him too. Like when he blew the kiss, who did he blow the kiss to?
Go the
Orioles.
Orioles.
The Orioles. Yeah, I was like, that
That was
kicks
so
ass.
fun.
That's fun.
Oh, you guys missed me.
Mm. And like also like
I'm
I do want to give a
healthy, by
shout
the
out
way.
to our past closer Jordan Romano, who I think's ERA is 13. I hope he gets his stuff worked out. Yeah.
I
Yes.
really do too.
Absolutely. And then on the
It is nice to have that back though, and that
Yeah.
what we had and we were so spoiled with such a short window of Jordan Romano back, with Jeff Hoffman equivalent. So, but anyway, continues there.
Absolutely. And then down, I guess it would be the collection of the younger players that, to me, the first couple of weeks of the season were very exciting in what they were doing, laying down bunts, getting some key hits, popping some, and then now kind of going flat. Maybe the league is catching up to them. So I was getting excited about a longer lineup for the first couple of weeks. Just seemed more could happen. That was when the top three were doing absolutely nothing. And
they were carrying the team offense.
Yes. So I hope that that's something that is just a temporary situation and not where maybe you have to start recalling some guys, sending some guys down, making some changes that way. And then obviously it would be great for Davis Schneider to return to his power hitting and get back with the club.
Did you see his play at third base last night?
I did.
Yes, you heard me right. Davis Schneider playing third base. Gee, I wonder why that could be happening. Production, bat, maybe in a position of need. Shocking. So, but that was a hell of a play. I was actually quite impressed. It looked like a few of those ones that Will Wagner pulled off at the beginning.
What did you do? I missed it.
Training.
What did you do?
It was the complete flail to get a ball that was very out of reach. Does the 180. Throws the guy out at first. It was slick. It looked like he'd been playing third base for years.
Yes.
So very, very monster athletic for the mustache man that is Davis Schneider. So, all right. So I guess it's my turn. My down is why the hell aren't we playing Miles Straw?
Okay.
He was hitting before we went to Houston. Nobody's hitting right now. You had Tony Taters on the bench yesterday. What the shnikes? Yeah. I don't get it. So I just can't say enough weird things for how we can't just, if you're struggling on offense, you have to find ways to find the hot hand and just plug it in. Whether that's what we were talking about earlier with shuffling the lineup around, getting the right guy off the bench just to light a fire under said other person's ass, or just watch them actually hit, whichever way you want to end up going with it. But as much as I love Alan Roden, he's had a few nice hits here and there, but the last week he's been just as bad as anybody else. I figure it was worth a try, see what happens. Throw in Miles Straw, who had been hot, but my guess is now he's going to be just as cold as anybody else because you unfortunately benched him. This is a team right now in the bottom part of this lineup. If you're hitting, you should be playing the next day. Simple as that. I don't care what the stat sheet says, but that's the gut feeling of baseball that I have in my belly, or at least in my MLB The Show lineup. I'll give you 50-50. As far as my up, I cannot say enough good things about what Chris Bassett has been doing this season. I just love what he's been doing. Those pitches are crazy. They were talking with Jeff Hoffman, I think, on the pregame show yesterday, and he was talking about just the plethora of pitches that he somehow manages to have the right grip for and still be able to throw perfectly. Oh, I take that back. It wasn't Hoffman. It was Chad Green. So it was on Sportsnet right before the game yesterday, and he goes, I can barely keep 3 pitches straight. I know how he keeps 8.
Yeah.
So, and that's what he does. He just works with whatever works that day the best out of 5 of those 8 pitches, and he makes it work. And we've been seeing what might be one of the better stretches, if not the best, of Chris Bassett's career right now. And I hope we get to ride that to more wins than what we've been seeing this past day, but yep. So before we wrap up and get toward picks to click and all these things and our wonderful shameless self-promoting for our good buddy Blue Jays dad here, is there any topics that we have not talked out that the two of you would like to dive into?
No, we talked about John Schneider's fashion. And that was my hot issue for the week. I think that was that and the Blue Jays. So we hit them.
Well, Craig, you reminded me of one just now where, remember last year it was the joke, oh no, if this guy goes 4 for 4 today, he might win himself a day off tomorrow. Remember that those are always the jokes, is that whenever someone had a big day of the plate, Schneider would rest them. Kind of did that with Springer early in the season. Remember that he was on his crazy tear, and then he sat him a game and hasn't quite been the same as he was.
And then the wrist thing and picking all the other things. But to that point, he's still one of our best hitters this season so far. And that's just saying a lot when he's now batting 222.
Right. And then you think of Miles Straw, like whatever it is, the person that maybe you just ride him for a while, wait for him to have a bad game. And if they're hitting, because every Major League Baseball player, I think, would tell you that there are times in the season, or maybe even just a few times in your career, where the ball looks different and you can hit, and it lasts multiple days. And you can hit it, you can square it up, and you don't even know what's going on. So that's the stuff I need to
apologize to George Springer because I just did him wrong. He's actually batting 333 on the season. Yeah. Over the last week, he's batting 222. So that just shows how far his batting average probably dropped over the last week.
Right.
Oh, that's saying a lot. So, but yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because we got another one that's actually going on right now for the Blue Jays in Houston. And where do we go next? I forget. I had this in front of me a minute ago.
New York? Or no?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. I think you're right. But to that point, I'm going to get the pitching matchup so we can at least talk a little bit about next week in front of us after I go back 900 years in my pages, apparently. But road trip, right? So got a day off tomorrow, so maybe they can get some things back together, and hopefully they'll wrap up and get ready for the plane ride to New York City to take on the Yankees. Hopefully with a victory. It's always better to get on the plane with a victory. So Barrios is going to start the series in the Bronx against. Is that really Carlos Carrasco that's going to be pitching for the freaking Yankees on? I forgot he was actually Yankee. He was actually, just in typical Blue Jays fashion, he's already got 2 wins this season, and he's got a couple of good outings and 1 monster goose egg going. So he's got a 6.5 ERA. We're going to be facing him. And that's a nice win, I guess, to hopefully maybe the bats can get lit up a little bit against Carrasco. Then we got Gausman versus Max Fried, who has been amazing to the point where he basically had a no-hitter stole from him the other day. Do y'all hear that story?
No.
The box score guy changed a error into a base hit.
Did. Yep. And they called him out. They called out the guy too. Like, who did it? Yeah.
Yep. So on Saturday afternoon in the Bronx, you got Gausman versus Max Fried, and then on Sunday you have Bassett versus Clark Schmidt. Clark Schmidt is still coming back from injury, didn't pitch like all spring training. Maybe there's some chance to take advantage of that, but the Yankees are beat up. If the Blue Jays want to get back to being a above 500 team and having any trouble today versus the Houston Astros, this could be this thing that spells a little success to that point. Blue Jays dad, how are you feeling as the Blue Jays head to the Bronx? At least we know Vladdy might light up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's always you never know how it's going to go. I think we've maybe underestimated trips to Houston lately. That seems to be the new house of horrors for the Jays. And hopefully, because there's no the Yankees have had some injuries, maybe it's a different story. Than sometimes it feels like the Jays just get shut down there. But let's hope for better things this weekend.
Liz, how you feeling?
Not good. like that's it. Not good. That's my update.
My guess is if we continue to not hit, this is where the Yankees are going to be the unfortunate where they find themselves and all of a sudden go on a streak, right? That's my unfortunate down fear.
By the Yankees, it will be pivotal for us. This will set the direction, the trajectory for our season.
You probably aren't wrong with that statement.
But if we swept them. So,
yep. Our buddy Creole Crocodile is calling out that we missed in our wonderful 3 up, 3 down segment that we should have given a giant monster bump for Paxton Schultz. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing more from him in the bullpen. I can't lie. I've liked him watching with the Buffalo Bisons for years. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can finally translate. He's finally gotten the opportunity. It's one of those ones I was like, wow, he hasn't gotten a chance yet. So he throws a sneaky fastball. It's only like 94, 95, but it seemed like it got up on all of them the other day. And they just were like, oh my God. So All right. We're gonna do our wonderful fun picks to click here, but I want to make sure we give Blue Jays Dad his shameless self-promoting, and we can end with the joke that is the fun game that we play here with picks to click with our guests. So, what's going on in Blue Jays Dad's world? What you doing? How you been? Where can the Blue Jays fans find you if they don't somehow know you already?
Well, yeah, I'm on Twitter or X or whatever. That's mainly what I've been doing these days. Kind of a semi-retired live tweeter. With being a grandparent now, a granddad. It takes I'm having a lot of fun with the family, and so I'll still get on my phone and complain and do whatever I got to do to be there. But yeah, so Twitter is mainly where I am. But thank you for the opportunity to self-promote.
Yeah, no worries. And on that, so we're not changing to Blue Jays granddad as a granddad myself, just saying.
Why do all the granddads here look like they're 25? What is going on with you two? Like,
you can see what it looks like when I shave my beard because I look like I'm about like 17.
I'm older than Craig. I just want to put that out there. I am
like
older
a couple
than
months.
Craig.
So it is what it is. Yeah, no, my lovely wife actually had our 6-month grandson in the living room right before we started here, and he's 25 pounds already. It's a pumpkin.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
Yo, I do not have any children, but I do have this signed Vladimir Guerrero bat. And so this is the life that I've chosen. This is it.
Yep.
The life that I have chosen.
Yeah.
There it is.
And you
Liz
have an official Topps card.
I am a collectible. I may die alone, but I'll die alone with my sports memorabilia.
Don't worry, I got more here that I'll bring you next weekend. So, including your wonderful, I'm still hoarding it, and I'm keeping it in the place of prestigious honor. I got the Kelly Gruber starting lineup that I found at the toy show.
Beautiful.
Boom.
Really?
It's
wow.
Circa 1991, I think. Yep, 1991. There you go.
I got a George Bell 1987.
I got that one too, where he's just kind of like hitting the home run, sitting up there. I got a Jesse Barfield too, but I know Liz is dying for a Kelly Gruber one, so I got to bring it up to her.
I am.
So good deal. So let's end this one up with our typical ending of the show, the picks to click. For anybody tuning in for the first time, that's hoping also like Jeremy Pridham here is not going to see Jacob Barnes for a third time. But on that note, we do this thing every week where we are going to predict who is the best performer in Blue Jays baseball before we record our next episode. So that's 1 week in time because we're live every Wednesday evening. And right now, this is a pretty horribly bad list that we put together last week. Liz, you had Vladdy because you didn't have him the week before. I guess we'll find out here when we let Blue Jays Dad here just decide the horrible because it's pretty bad. We had Miles Straw from Jason. I had Jimenez, and then we had Santander in our guest spot picked by the fans last week because Scott Belford ended up being on the Fan 590 before Baseball Town last week. So we had a last minute cancellation, but Scott will be back. Our buddy. I know you're good buddies with him too. So Liz, did you end up attending the Baseball Town thing or did you?
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, I went to baseball. I was at Baseball Town. Baseball Town was great.
It's always fun for.
It's great. I drank a lot of Baseball Town beers. I had a lot of good Baseball Town laughs.
There you go. Good stuff. But according to the wonderful thing that is the stat universe of MajorLeagueBaseball.com, our person out of all those people that had the most hits in the Blue Jays lineup last week was Vlad with 4.
I win. Suck it. Let's go.
Jimenez had 3. This is just so bad. I should just share my screen. It shows like 2 RBIs, and Kirk was the only one that had 2 RBI game. Nathan Lucas, because of the home run yesterday, had 2.
It's
Anthony
sad.
Santander had 2 hits with 2 RBIs. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to give it to you just because of the most hits, and he actually didn't walk, only struck out once and whatnot. So Liz, you're on the board.
Aha.
We got one win. Everybody's got 1 win apiece now. Liz, Jason, Craig, and our guest spot Bob File, was the one that got the win for us for Andres Jimenez.
There we go.
So,
my game was just pick Vladdy 50% of the time. That's it. That's the game that
I guess you can't pick this week. It's
It's
your pick because you won, because we're one of those people around here. The winner gets to go first.
I'm picking Bo.
Going for Bo?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Blue Jays Dad, you're the guest. You get to go next. Who are you thinking for the guest spot here for our competition throughout the year?
I was gonna pick Bo, so instead, I don't want to do a tie. I'm gonna say Vladdy's gonna break out. I'm gonna say he's gonna have a breakout week.
There you go, going for the guest spot win, get them back ahead. They were the first win this year, so that's good stuff. We'll pick just somebody for Jason with our default horrible answer, like we've done the last few years for us.
Pick him Barger. Barger.
Yeah, it's honestly not far from what we're going to do here in a sec, because we have a default how to pick them for our own hosts. I am going to go with Kirk because I can't believe I haven't picked the maple beef yet for one of my picks yet this season. So I'm going to go with Alejandro Kirk. What we've done, and we can obviously override this rule because this is the wonderful rules of fun that we terribly don't have on this show because it's a barroom chat. That's what we do here. What we were doing was the most full-time player from last week who did the worst was who the person used to get by default for this, and that is Anthony Santander right now.
That sucks.
So should we be nice? Jason hasn't picked Tony Taters yet.
Let's give it to him because he could break
Let's
up.
give him Tony Taters. I'm going to write it in as such.
Is for tonight's game, I'm going to give an update. Houston has 2 runs. The Blue Jays have no runs.
I literally just looked at the score like 3 seconds ago. What the shit?
Yeah.
Tough.
That's how it works. So, but that's like I said, that's baseball, and of course the sub 500 and not looking like they had an idea in the world. Houston Astros, right before this series against the Blue Jays, all of a sudden looked like a first place team again. And it was about Francis, and the only way he ever gives up runs, it was a home run.
Yep.
To Christian Walker. So he didn't give it up to somebody that was, horrible.
Don't spin this. Get out of here.
Get out. All right. So, anyways, anything else, anybody? Are we good? All right. Well, good deal. Feel free to hang out for a moment, Blue Jays Dad, if you want to chat or get anything off your chest with us after the show.
Awesome.
But anyways, on that note, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much. There's still somehow 150 of you in the chat right now goofing around with us in the cheap seats. We greatly appreciate you all tuning in and chatting with us. Thank you for all the comments and everything and all the wonderful information we got on watches this evening. If you missed the live show on Wednesday evenings, make sure you get us wherever you can get your podcast pledgers from, and on YouTube, of course. You can see this wonderful video all over again. We hope you have a great night. Go Blue Jays, and have a great evening.
Let's do that baseball. Woo!
Woohoo!
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!